Now, a question for everybody. Who wants to live longer, say to 100? Who would like to live to 100? Who wants to do it not just with more years, but with better years and to live better into old age? We all want to do that, don't we? Absolutely. This is why one of our special topics at the summit this year is longevity. We're looking at the urgent frontiers in wellness, and longevity is one of them because it's not just about adding more years, it's about how well you live well into your later years. So, we're going to be looking at alternative therapies and the evidence-based tools that are shaping the future of optimized living with Dr. Nasr Al-Jafari, the co-founder and chief medical officer at DNA Health and Wellness, Dr. Karolina Kobus, chief scientific officer at Lifespan Group. And to moderate this panel, please welcome also Ziad Rizkallah. Put your hands together for your speakers.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome, doctors. I'm so happy to be on this talk with both of you. We're sorry we had another doctor as well, but she couldn't make it. I was looking forward for... Oh, she's here. There you go. Welcome. Because they didn't say your name. Dr. Basmah.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hello. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you
Yes,
again.
it is absolutely.
I'll take that microphone. And I will introduce myself.
Of course.
So I'm Dr. Basmah Alrowaily. I'm a consultant family physician and anti-aging and regenerative medicine. I'm double-boarded, American and Canadian, board in family medicine and anti-aging and functional medicine, regenerative medicine. I'm also a certified aesthetic physician, and I'm the director of the functional department at the American Hospital. I'm very happy to be here, and Shivanji just found me, and she told me that you were looking for me, but I was always here.
Okay, perfect. And we're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
So welcome to Forbes, Tourism, Medical Tourism and Wellness, the second edition. I'm going to start my first question with Dr. Nasr Al-Jafari. With regenerative therapy like peptides and exosome and stem cells gaining traction, how do you determine which intervention are evidence-based versus experiment? And how can patients navigate this landscape safely?
Yeah, no, good question, because these are very topical at the moment, particularly regionally, and I think for good reason. We certainly apply peptides to great effect in a very diverse array of conditions, and exosomes and stem cells are kind of at the pinnacle of regenerative medicine, and that's always a question we get asked regarding kind of evidence base and safety. I think the tricky thing here is that we're dealing with products where, whilst there is often a mechanistic understanding of how they work, and also sort of early signals of benefit, they unfortunately don't fit into a sort of traditional framework of research. And the regulator kind of wants to hold them to the same sort of pharmaceutical standard of needing RCTs for them to be licensed. Now, for a variety of reasons, that's going to be tricky to happen because we're not dealing with disease often. We're not dealing with traditional endpoints. And, VCs aren't going to make any money because there isn't any IP. So there's going to be hurdles to getting them to the level of evidence that we're used to in the traditional health system. Now, how do I navigate it? Well, again, it's about the mechanistic understanding, and we see where do we have trials. So often you will have trials in various species. So there are some that have had trials in humans. And typically, if I'm looking at, say, a peptide for a particular designated effect, I'll look to see whether that has been studied in the research. And if you see something that is a consistent signal across a variety of different species, and even better in humans, particularly with a good safety profile, then we need to have some freedom to innovate and utilize these products. Otherwise, we're going to wait another 20 years and still be suffering. Of course, I think it's important to say that there isn't ever going to be no risk. But I mean, even with common pharmaceuticals that we're using day to day, there's patient risk. So I think there has to be an acceptance that is part of any sort of therapeutic intervention.
Now my question for you, Dr. Caroline Kobus. How are genomics, AI, and gene editing technology transforming preventive healthcare? And how can population with unique genetic and environmental factors benefit from more individualized longevity strategies?
Thank you for that question, and I guess it's very important, especially that we are going through the huge shift in terms of the healthcare system from the reactive to proactive and preventive approaches. And definitely the genomic testing is something basic to be done. Actually, the revolution started almost 30 years ago. So we have already the 3 decades of the personalized medicine, where the experts envisioned that shift. And it's personalization on both level, on the community level and also on the human and person, individual patient level. So what we learn over these 3 decades of the genome studies and national genome initiatives across the world, actually. So it started in England, followed by Singapore, South Asian countries. We are currently going through multiple national genome initiatives in Gulf area as well. So we have Egypt Genome Project, Qatar Genome Project, Emirati Genome Project, of course. So we sequence already almost 700, 800,000 genomes for the local population. So what we learn from that different diseases and different patterns, prevalence and occurs across the different regions and ethnicity groups. So it's not only genomics, of course, we have also environmental factors, but based on this, the healthcare system should be tailored to that genomic makeup of particular community and ethnicity. So we cannot copy-paste the healthcare system or preventive strategies from UK or United States and copy-paste and apply this blindly to Singaporean population, South Asian population, or tribal Arabic ethnicities, because it will just not work, because there is different age onset, different variants, and different preventive strategies should be applied accordingly. So if in terms of, for example, cardiovascular risk, obesity risk, diabetic risk, breast cancer risk, it's a completely different composition, prevalence, and age, most importantly. Because, for example, if we start making the prevention for the women, for Caucasian women, for the breast cancer at age of 40 and above, and being applied for Bahraini population, it will not work because the onset of the genetic related cancer is much earlier, maybe 10, 12 years earlier than for Caucasian population.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much. Now with you, Dr. Basmah. How can therapies such as hormone replacement and peptide treatments be safely used to slow cellular aging, restore vitality, and support overall health span in both men and women?
With hormone replacement therapy, it's important to start with the screening to make sure that you are selecting your patient very carefully, making sure they don't have any contraindications or risk factors for using hormone replacement therapy. And the way I would say it is hormone balancing. So you just bring the man or the woman to their physiological levels where their symptoms, because usually they would come presenting with symptoms. It's not always age related. For example, last week I had 4 patients, male patients, coming for testosterone therapy. Some of them I had to remove them from testosterone therapy. A diabetic, for example, who came with fatigue, his testosterone was the lower border of normal. I had to optimize with transdermal testosterone. We've moved away from oral. In the past, we used to give oral. Now we're giving more transdermal for both. Now in men, we do give the injectable testosterone after doing the assessment, making sure that they have normal blood work, they have normal ultrasounds. We make sure that they are not having, in case of males, for example, we have to check their hemoglobin because it increases the risk of thrombosis, same for the women. We go over the lifestyle, we go over their risk for thromboembolism. And I highly discourage, especially the young men who are using anabolic testosterone, because they're getting it from their trainer and without any baseline investigations, including a growth hormone, which will catastrophize the outcome. So this is when it comes to hormone. Longevity starts actually with bringing back the hormones to the natural level, but also, and not only testosterone and estrogen and progesterone. There's DHEA, which is secreted from the adrenal gland. It's your defense against autoimmune disorders. It's your brain function. It's your like treatment for muscle building. The same for pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is one of the most important hormones that goes down with age, and for people who have cognitive impairment, pregnenolone replacement is one of the essential ones. And now with the advancement of all the lab, we have facilities to monitor how these patients are detoxifying from their hormones, and according to the risk factors, we can choose which type of hormone is suitable for these patients. So we go into a personalized prescription directly according to their symptoms, risk factors, and their clinical outcome that they are looking for. When it comes to peptides, there are, of course, the most studied peptides are the GLP-1, Ozempic, and the GLP-1 GIP agonist, which is Mounjaro. And that made the introduction of peptide much easier because it's well studied, it's very safe, it has a very long evidence-based safety profile. So this had made more of the peptides that we are using sometimes for mitochondrial dysfunction, like the MOTS, easy to introduce when it's done under supervision for the right indications. There are other sleep peptides that are absolutely safe, and the recent studies have proven that. We have certain peptides for infertility that will just stimulate a little bit of a person's own gonadotropic hormone, and they are successful. The nice thing about peptide is you cycle them, and they do not suppress or make a defect and the natural pathways as bad as when you give gonadotropic hormones, for example, or growth hormones. But everything has to be done with a specialized physician that knows exactly how to monitor, what to look for, what are the contraindications.
That's actually very important. And I had this conversation earlier with Dr. Caroline that everybody needs to go with the professional to know what they are doing and not follow like anyone on social media or anywhere. They need to do it with a professional. Now, back to you, Dr. Nasr. Beyond cutting edge therapies, what proven lifestyle habits do you consider most impactful for extending health span? And how can these be integrated into everyday routines for long-term benefit? I'm interested
So
in this
yeah,
one.
no, I'm just conscious of time, so I'll be quick.
No, don't worry about it.
Listen, it's the boring stuff. So unfortunately, living better and longer, basically your pyramid is lifestyle, and that's probably 95% of it. Everyone likes to talk about all the biohacks. I'm sure a lot of these, well, they do improve, give symptomatic sort of improvement or benefits. But ultimately, what you're trying to address are your four main pillars: your nutrition, your exercise, sleep, and stress management. And it's not a case of just addressing one or two of them. They have to all be done together. I would go as far as to say that, when people talk about lifestyle, they automatically jump on nutrition, then exercise, and often will neglect stress and sleep. But the stress and sleep underpins everything else. If you're underslept and you're highly stressed, whatever you do with your nutrition and your exercise is probably not going to be beneficial, and if anything, can be actually counterproductive.
So technically, it has to be like a full circle of a good health.
Well, yeah, exactly. You have to address the base of the pyramid, which is your lifestyle. Then you add on your supplements, your hormones, your peptides, up to the top of the pyramid to stem cells if relevant.
All right. For you, Dr. Caroline, with diseases patterns varying across regions, how can healthcare system implement a truly personalized approach that combines genomic insights, lifestyle data, and predictive analysts for optimizing living?
So yes, as we discuss, the shift is there from reactive to preventive and predictive medicine. So definitely incorporating the whole genome sequencing into the traditional screening methodologies like premarital screening, or for example for newborn screening, it will definitely improve the preventive approach. So for example, if we see the Taiwanese examples or Singapore examples for the precision medicine, where they started these programs many years ago, and most importantly, it's implemented on the national scale, and they screen the genome for each newborn baby, and incorporating during that screening program also other pharmacogenomics and risk assessments for the future use. They never discard the data. They keep that data a lifetime, and over the time it will be utilized for other applications. And what's the power of replacing or incorporating or boosting traditional screening methodologies by genomics? For example, it will give more diseases to be screened and detected at one time compared to the traditional methodologies. For example, for national newborn screenings programs, usually it was 30 or 40 metabolic diseases screened at the same time. With the genomes, we can screen more than 5,000 or 7,000 diseases at the same time. So it's a huge improvement. And most importantly, we can catch the disease before the symptoms happen.
Okay. We're going to jump to our last question because we run out of time. With you, Dr. Basmah. Given the impact of oxidative stress and environmental pollutants and aging, what practical intervention of protocols have you found most effective for reducing cellular damage and enhancing recovery?
I'll make it very short. As Dr. Nas said, the lifestyle actually is important because when you exercise, you are decreasing the level of oxidative stress, exposure to environmental toxins that we are unaware of, like the microplastics, the treatments that most of us are using. So whether it's body lotions, whether it's the food additives, whether it is your detergents at home, being mindful that to read the label on food, you can't imagine how many harmful preservative, food coloring that is actually proven now to be carcinogenic. So even sometimes a bit of a bulking agent or a bleaching agent to a supplement can actually build up heavy metals. This is something that a lot of the times we see and it's not talked about. So again, when you exercise, when you expose yourself to sauna heat, when you eat the green leafy vegetables or the colored fruits, for example, they have all your antioxidants. When you take your seeds, when you make sure that you have nuts, there's your omega-3, that's another anti-inflammatory and reduces oxidative stress. And if you want to go the sophisticated way, at the American hospitals, we are now building an area for energy-based devices where we have the ozone sauna, the far infrared, the electromagnetic stimulation. All of these things will improve, reduce inflammation, reduce oxidative stress, improve the energy level for people with chronic fatigue. So again, it's a matter of balancing the whole body, starting with the gut, the microbiome, going back to the lifestyle, and then using all of these detoxification methods, probably with the liver, the kidney, and the gut.
Wow, so much to learn. Thank you so much, doctors. Thank you for being with us at Forbes, and we hope to see you again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.